Miss Dong, the heroine of the hand-in-hand incident, had previously posted a large number of personal photos on the internet. The aesthetic principles followed by these photos are beyond description. Perhaps it can only be summarized with the aesthetics of wind and dust to be more accurate. Why do you say that? Because Miss Dong completely packaged herself as an object of desire through these photos. Not only Miss Dong, but many avant-garde and cutting-edge women, whether they are internet celebrities or non-internet celebrities, like to share such photos on social media. If these photos are only shared privately, it is of course okay, and others will not be able to comment on them, but it is a bit puzzling to upload them to the public space and show them to the public. Why take the initiative to set yourself as the male gaze target? Don't they want to show their subjectivity? Don't they want to leave others with the impression of being wise, kind, knowledgeable, firm, brave, etc.? But just want to tell men, I can satisfy your desire and make you ecstasy overnight? Fundamentally speaking, the object of desire is the result of women being objectified, or self-objectified. Human beings are the most precious, and human dignity is priceless. But after people are materialized, they have a price and can be sold, and they no longer have dignity. A materialized society is essentially the result of the transformation of the bourgeoisie according to its own appearance. Compared with the feudal aristocrats, the advantage of the bourgeoisie lies in money. They hope to possess everything, so they hope that everything has a price, including human dignity. For the bourgeoisie, everything is easy as long as there is a price. In their view, any problem that can be solved with money is not a problem. With the help of the magic wand of money, the bourgeoisie can rule the world. Therefore, Marx and Engels once said sarcastically that only the bourgeoisie has truly realized the public wife system. A society where everything is materialized must be an alienated society, where people become non-human. Today, the real sober feminists must first show their resistance to materialization and their struggle for their own subjectivity. Miss Dong's tragedy may be that, despite her good education, she not only has no self-consciousness in fighting against objectified women, but instead shows a kind of eager pandering and self-satisfied showing off. The bigger and more profound tragedy is that when all this was exposed, the resignation skirt sold well, and Miss Dong even became an inspirational idol. This means that for a considerable part of the female group, self-objectification has become a trend and a fashion in an atmosphere where nothing is done and nothing is done. The truth that no one wants to face is that this is just the resurrection of the ancient Israelites in the market society. Against the background of accepting materialization, catering to materialization, and subjective objectification, feminism began to transform into female boxing, presenting a posture full of cracks and paradoxes, unjustifiable and daunting, namely. On the one hand, it is the popularity of professional aesthetics, and on the other hand, it is the shadow of the so-called obscene men, such as the Sichuan University girl Zhang Wei exposed the subway uncle incident that just happened. At this point in writing, I think of Chairman Mao's poem Seven Uniques, taking a photo for the female militia. The heroic 5-foot spear. The first light of dawn shines on the training ground. The sons and daughters of the Chinese nation are full of wonders. I don't like red clothes, but I like armed forces. Yes, women who have truly won liberation and all equal rights do not need to exist as objects of desire of men, not second sex, cannot be priced and sold, they have their own subjectivity, they are women militiamen, female soldiers, female tractor drivers, female pilots, female teachers, female politicians. They disdain the aesthetics of wind and dust, but they have unparalleled beauty. Two days ago, I reviewed two movies So Passionate Click to Read and Youth Like Fire Click to Read, which involved the concept, bourgeois legal rights. Some friends hope that I can explain this concept in detail. I am still learning about Marx's theory of bourgeois legal rights, and my understanding may not be accurate. Here I can only share my learning experience with you. So, what exactly is bourgeois right? Bourgeois right is a concept put forward by Marx in Critique of the Gotha Program and used to describe the characteristics of socialist economy. Marx believed that in socialist economic relations and social relations, due to the implementation of the principle of equal exchange and distribution according to work, there are also bourgeois legal rights similar to those in capitalist society that are equal in form but unequal in fact. What does it mean? To put it bluntly, distribution according to work, which is the most important distribution principle of the traditional socialist system and is also regarded as one of the main advantages of the traditional socialist system, is a legal right of a bourgeois nature, that is, bourgeois right. Under the traditional socialist system, according to the principle of distribution according to work, a person's seniority, military exploits, status, education, professional title, etc., may all become capital for him to claim social surplus. In other words, in countries where public ownership has been established and the socialist transformation of the means of production has been completed, private ownership of the means of subsistence still exists. Therefore, although the capital that aims at directly extracting the surplus value of labor force is gone, and of course the capitalists are gone, the ghost of capital is resurrected from all the attachments that can be exchanged. The basic operating logic of capital equivalent exchange, it is still the basic operating rules of society. In 1975, Chairman Mao made a series of speeches, which repeatedly clarified this point. In short, China is a socialist country. Before liberation, it was similar to capitalism. Now it has an 8-level wage system, distribution according to work, and currency exchange. These are no different from the old society. The difference is that the ownership system has changed. Our country is now implementing a commodity system, and the wage system is not equal. There is an 8-level wage system and so on. This can only be restricted under the dictatorship of the proletariat. Therefore, it is very easy for Lin Biao and his like to come to power. Order books on Marxism-Leninism. Lenin said to build a bourgeois country without capitalists in order to protect bourgeois legal rights. We ourselves built such a country, which is similar to the old society. A bourgeois country without capitalists, Chairman Mao could not have said it more clearly. If you want to carry out a socialist revolution, you don't know where the bourgeoisie is, do you even need to ask? 02. Before seizing the national power, the distribution method of the supply system was implemented in the revolutionary ranks, and the principle of equal value exchange was cancelled. The supply system is a kind of military communism, which is organized to provide everyone who participates in revolutionary work with the necessary, and minimum, material guarantees to ensure the needs of the revolution and combat. The effective operation of the supply system usually needs to be combined with high revolutionary enthusiasm and severe struggle against the enemy. But after the seizure of national power, peace came, social life, especially urban life, became extremely complex, and there was also a problem of dealing with the outside world of capitalism. Need. Therefore, it is imperative to implement a salary system, that is, private ownership of means of living, exchange of equal value, and distribution according to work. The problem is that, unlike people's beautiful imagination about distribution according to work, in practice, a country established according to the principle of distribution according to work cannot but be a hierarchical country that is far from the spirit of true egalitarianism. This is because, due to the extreme complexity of social labor, it is extremely difficult, or even impossible, to accurately calculate the labor of each individual and make distributions based on this. Therefore, distribution according to work has to be reasonably transformed into distribution according to the importance and scarcity of work. Since importance and scarcity are also difficult to accurately evaluate, they will eventually evolve into distribution by rank. On October 13, 1958, the editor's note of the People's Daily published a signed article discussing the issue of bourgeois legal rights, which succinctly pointed out, the core of bourgeois legal rights is the hierarchy. This means that China has begun to find the correct direction of the socialist revolution. From the perspective of social effects, the establishment of a hierarchical system will inevitably produce the effect of reverse incentives. Logically speaking, in a socialist country, the people are the masters of the country, and the laborers are the masters of the country. But unfortunately, under the hierarchical system, from the point of view of distribution, ordinary laborers are just at the lowest rank of the distribution hierarchy. Therefore, many ordinary workers, except for a few sincere idealists, want to leave the working class and climb to a higher distribution status whenever they have the opportunity. So far, the question of why Fu Ping must marry the director is self-evident. This question cannot be fundamentally solved by establishing a correct view of love and marriage. 03. The disintegration of the Soviet Union, on an unprecedentedly large scale, proved the serious threat of bourgeois legal rights to the socialist system. To briefly summarize, the Soviet Union went through the following steps from its establishment to its disintegration. First, The first socialist country in human history was born in the October Revolution. Second, the contract between the Bolsheviks and the Soviet people is, to establish a people state where each contributes to his ability, is distributed according to his work, everyone is equal, and no one exploits or oppresses anyone. Third, after the death of Lenin, under the influence of bourgeois legal rights, the phenomenon of privileges and privileged classes began to appear in the Soviet Union. Fourth, in the 1950s, under the slogan of Party of the Whole People put forward by Khrushchev, bourgeois legal rights gained political and theoretical legitimacy. Fifth, the proliferation of bourgeois legal rights and its social consequences. The existence of the privileged class violated the most basic social contract of the Soviet Union, making all the propaganda of the CPSU about socialism a lie. The existence of the Soviet Union, as a result, the political and moral foundations have been lost. Sixth, the disintegration of the Soviet Union is inevitable. It is worth noting from historical experience that for a socialist country, if it fails to handle the issue of bourgeois legal rights, the consequences will be fatal. The Sino-Soviet 10-year debate in the 1950s and 1960s was undoubtedly Chairman Mao's rescue of the Soviet Communist Party. The Soviet Communist Party rejected this rescue, and the outcome has already explained everything. In the previous article, thoughts on watching the movie So Passionate, click to read. When it comes to the issue of bourgeois legal rights, many friends are very interested, so I will continue to talk about this topic today. The history of the international communist movement in the 20th century proves that, due to the existence of bourgeois legal power, any successful revolution will, without exception, face the embarrassing situation of cutting the water with a knife and making it flow. Of course, the positive significance of revolution cannot be underestimated. As Lenin said, revolution is the locomotive that drives history forward. Revolutions often bring about great social progress, and any remarks that deny revolution are wrong and should be criticized. When we say that the revolution will face the embarrassing situation of cutting off the knife and cutting off the water will flow again after victory, we mean it in this sense. The revolution promises to establish a society where everyone is equal, and the successful revolution also destroys the old ruling class and vested interest groups, but after the victory of the revolution, after a period of transition, a new ruling class and new vested interest groups will eventually emerge. As a result, the original promise of revolution fell through. For this reason, it is also a regular phenomenon that successful revolutions encounter their own Thermidorian coups. Why is the Thermidor so hard to avoid? As the teacher said, the socialist revolution came upon me. In this case, a part, often most, of the elite who previously led the revolution, because they have the best chance to fill the vacancy left by the old vested interest groups emptied by the revolution, will often instinctively stand on the side of the Thermidor position. To summarize, due to the existence of bourgeois legal rights, it is impossible to complete the socialist revolution by seizing political power alone. After the victory of the revolution, it must be effectively restricted until the bourgeois legal rights are abolished. In other words, the seizure of power is only the beginning of the socialist revolution. In the words of the teacher, it is called the first step in the long march of 10,000 miles. 02. After the victory of the revolution, whether bourgeois legal rights can be effectively restricted depends on the following two factors. One is, can the working class effectively restrain the vanguard? The second is, can the working class improve their technical and cultural level rapidly and as a whole? Marx and Engels highly praised the principles of the Paris Commune, saying that the principles of the Commune are eternal. Why permanent? Because what the Paris Commune tried to construct was a society in which bourgeois rights were abolished. However, an absolutely necessary precondition for the implementation of the principles of the Paris Commune is the existence of a proletariat that is politically mature, well organized, and capable of action. However, the practice of the international communist movement in the 20th century tells us that the proletariat in almost all countries that have achieved revolutionary victory is far from this standard. As for the second factor, it is even more meaningful to solve the problem of bourgeois legal rights. It can be said that after the socialist transformation of the ownership of the means of production was completed in 1956, all the political thinking and exploration of the teachers revolved around these two issues. Why do we often have the feeling of having a dialogue with the teacher, or even the feeling of he is present when discussing many problems facing human beings today? The reason is that the teacher's eyes go beyond the eyes of a great man in the general sense of a nation state. he is thinking and trying to solve the problem of the complete liberation of mankind. Therefore, as long as human beings are not completely liberated, they will not go out of the teacher's field of vision, so we must have a dialogue with him and answer his questions. 03. Having said that, we can talk about the movie Youth Like Fire. The film was made by the Beijing Film Studio in 1976, exactly 20 years after So Passionate, but it's still actually answering the question So Passionate posed: how to crack hierarchy. The outline of the story of Youth Like Fire is as follows. In 1976, the Jiangnan steel rolling plant wanted to redesign the automatic control of the rolling mill. A group of young workers headed by Liang Dongxia volunteered to take on the design task, but Yu Kongguo, director of the design office, supported by Fans Haiping, director of the factory's revolutionary committee, opposed workers' participation in the design work. Seeing the situation, Yu Kongguo changed his approach, first transferred Liang Dongxia's team to the design room, and then recruited Gao Lei, a young man who was serious about fame and wealth, and asked him to create another set of designs to sing against Liang. When Liang Dongxia's team was about to succeed, Yu Kongguo stole the data of Liang Dongxia's team to Gao Lei, so that Gao Lei could take out the design drawings first. At the drawing review meeting, Liang Dongxia exposed Yu's theft and criticized Fans Haiping's wrong line, from which Gao Lei was educated. Some people today may feel puzzled. Of course, automation control equipment should be designed by professionals, and it is enough for workers to work hard. This kind of view has actually accepted the logic of the bourgeoisie without being aware of it. Under the background that the socialist transformation of the means of production has been completed but bourgeois legal rights exist, whoever masters the technology means that the distribution will be tilted to whom, which means that whoever occupies a higher social status and has a greater right to speak. In the end, it means who rules the country. Therefore, this is essentially a political question, and the ultimate answer is, can the working class really become the leading class? Of course, history has proved that the characters in Youth Like Fire, such as Liang Dongxia, as well as the ending of the whole story, are too idealistic. Therefore, this film can be said to be a revolutionary romantic work. Nevertheless, we can still draw the following conclusions. It is entirely possible to fundamentally solve the two factors that limit the legal rights of the bourgeoisie, and it is entirely possible for socialism to deserve its name.